Oh,
Hello,
we
everyone.
were just halfway through a conversation, and it just reminded me that Davleen, our social media person that's here, she said, "Do you want to think about doing intros to your show?"
Yes.
So this will be the last one where we don't do an intro because we were talking there about,
Hello, everyone.
hello, about psychological conditions, and we was talking about going for a walk. So because I look at a lot of different industries, because you find things out from different industries that will tell you about that industry.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, knowledge just gets filtered into something. But when you can hear from people that are completely different industry, could be talking about anything, but you might find it out from the fitness industry or from a gardener who's been doing that for years, and it'll tell you different things about it. The walking, why that works is, so I looked into it and it's like a whole thing open. So why does it make you feel better? It's not the walk that's making you feel better. It's not even the energy. It's not the fact that you're doing fitness. It's not even that. What it is when, say, like you're depressed or you're feeling down, what happens is everything closes off. I'm not talking about serious depression. I'm talking about, you feel a bit depressed. What happens is your brain's just filtering out. It's lying to you, really. Your brain's lying to you. Nothing's that bad. In a year, it's going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
But at the time, everything starts to close off. So all the synapses of your brain just start to focus on one thing, which is just a little bit miserable.
Yeah.
What happens is when you go for a walk, your brain has to start taking in other things.
Yeah.
Because what's that van? Who's that person?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a woman with a dog. Yeah. Oh, there's a squirrel over there. And what it does is it diverts you away. It doesn't fix anything. It pulls your brain away from the lie that you're sitting there miserable,
focused, repeating yourself.
Over. Yeah. So the worst thing,
different stimulus, basically.
Yeah. So the worst thing is you're just sitting there, and you've got no other stimulation. So you're just sitting in that thing that's not a problem. In a year's time, you won't even remember that day. And then it led on to something else that was interesting, where they say about if you actually want to relax properly, and when you're not at work, you are not relaxing. It doesn't matter that you're at home, you're not relaxing because you're still looking at the same TV, you're still on the same bed, you're still in the same environment, you go to the shops, you're still in the same coffee shop that you go to work. So your brain's not really turning off. It's still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
To relax, you have to be in a completely different environment so that your brain has to go, where am I? Who are these people? What's that street? Holidays, for instance, because now you've got to think about a plane. You're not actually have that thing in the background that's still comfortable, so you're still thinking about work. Now you're thinking, oh, hang on, where do I give this?
You got to distract yourself with
completely. Not being at work is not relaxing. You have to be somewhere where your brain just even smells.
Because even if you get on the train home and you're like out of work, you're
semi-relaxed, which means you've still got to
because you compartmentalize it a bit. That's trouble with working from home is that your home becomes your workplace.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and
that's twice as bad.
You're just kind of there, and you often end up. Most people I know end up working a bit later. Start a bit earlier. Start with the thing. You work through lunch hour a bit. Yeah. Whereas I don't do that when I'm in the office. And
it's so funny because there's all the massive companies are trying to make everyone go back to the office, but at the office you piss off a lot of time. You just stand by the coffee machine. You take lots of poos.
That's a good thing.
Little callback for for the Patreon.
But it's a good thing to know for life that you go right. I'm not relaxing. Yeah. I need to go away somewhere where there's different. And the other thing that piled on top of that was smells as well. Your brain relaxing is not. It needs new smells. It needs to hear different voices. Yeah. It needs to be down a road. It doesn't know what's at the end of that road. That's when you then relax, and that's why you have a holiday, because it's not the holiday, it's your brain is complete, every minute is looking at something so new that's taken in danger, really. That's what the brain's doing. It's going, what's going on around me, so that you cannot even in the background think about work, and that's when you let go and relax.
It's exciting going to the office because there's like a dead pigeon right outside our window that's like in a puddle. And then you get to sort of watch it and watch what's happening. And it's
over
been
the
there
time.
About 6 weeks. So it's kind of.
Well, I worked in a removal company,
and I'm curious to see what happens next. So kind of keeps,
before I reached the heights of low-level media, I worked at a removal company, and we used to be in 7.5-ton lorries, and there's like 3 of us in there. Yeah, and They weren't great. Removals industry catches people at the bottom. It's people that you could just turn because nobody wants to do the job.
Yeah, my uncle does that.
So you can just turn up and get a job because nobody wants to run up downstairs all day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's 3 of us, and I'd only been there a couple of weeks, and we went to Tesco's. You know, you get that plastic bag with like hot chicken wings in it or something like that. Yeah. They got one of them, and they were arguing about something, well, jokingly, and one had the little chicken wing and threw it at him, and he sort of knocked it away, landed on the floor.
Yeah.
I watched that piece of chicken. I thought, well, is somebody going to pick that up? No, he's not going to pick it up. Oh, he's forgotten about it. I watched them step over that tiny little chicken wing, like a philosophical thing I went through for about 3 weeks. Nobody picked it up.
Yeah.
And every day I used to look at it and go, this isn't for me. I'm not supposed to be here. Like, how can you leave it there for a second? This is years ago. I've never told anybody, but I just kept looking at that chicken wing thinking, I'm getting out of here. That chicken wing is God speaking. This is not for you. This is what you're at. They do not care. There's a piece of rotten meat.
You need to fly away.
Yeah, fly away. I think that's what was coming through.
That's a GCSE English metaphor.
Right, anyway, so it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're sort of done now.
Fun conversation. A good time.
Comedy.
Yes.
Oh, well, before I forget, a bit random, you did a showcase where Joe Brand was introducing you.
Yes.
I know how long ago it was.
This was pandemic.
Right.
Early pandemic.
Okay.
You know, when you couldn't leave the house unless you were creating media for people.
Oh, right.
Unless you had a damn good reason to.
Very special reason.
Or you're rich.
Yeah. I was trying to dance around that. But
What was she like?
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She was. My mother hates comedy, especially mine.
My mother hates laughter,
especially mine.
Yeah.
And but her favorite comedian is Joe Brand.
Oh,
makes no sense.
Yeah.
Clean Christian woman.
Yeah.
But I want that mean butch.
Yeah.
It's all right, cool.
What was she? Did she say once about throwing something in somebody's face and got in a lot of trouble? Was it Nigel Farage? Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
Do you remember she made a joke about? Oh, yeah. Didn't somebody throw
milkshake?
Somebody threw a milkshake in his face, and she said, "I would have thrown battery acid instead," and she got in a lot of trouble for it.
Well, I mean, okay, the right wing is just we should talk about don't you wish when comedy was dangerous and you say some dangerous
that's right. That's the thing, they're the most fragile because the left can be
they're both as fragile as each other because they're both equally emotionally vulnerable.
I was just about to say both sides are fragile, but one side will want to kill you. And I go, well, I'll take the side that doesn't want to take around I'll take the right stuff down my throat till they annoy me, but don't put me in chains because you don't like me. I'll go with the other ones.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that my mum was watching the Carry On film the other day. Had a thing going on.
Everyone's mum's coming up. This is very nice.
Wholesome family.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones. There was a lot of people. It tanned up, let's say. It was carrying up the Khyber, and it was a bit.
Oh right, yeah.
Of its time.
Yes, of its time. Had a little warning, so this is this thing of its time. Take it in context. They weren't trying to be awful and offensive. They just happened to be.
It's just, there's no malintent.
It's just they just blundered their way into racism. It wasn't intentional. Please, just so.
Well, it's true. It was, but they didn't mean to be. They did,
accidentally racist. Like with most of British culture recently.
We have a museum.
But the same people who had all the warnings at the front, but the same people who complain about that type of stuff would also complain about there being sex and violence and drug use and all types of stuff in films. And it's like, and then be offended that there wasn't a warning about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's fine. You just, this might be slightly not to your taste. Here's a warning. That's fine.
Or you could just be a big boy and just watch media and interpret it.
Or just,
you know what I mean? The only thing where I'm like warning is like rape scenes, where it's like, okay, let's not have that in there because like that could be very triggering to people. But outside of
that's an extreme.
Outside of that, like be a big boy and watch television. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I noticed that they started to do this thing a while back. Back when we still had DVDs, in fact. They used to have the little thing at the, that said, may contain scenes of
explicit nature.
Probably better mute that.
Sorry, I was messing
do you know what's better than listening to us? Let's just watch a bit of telly. Let's just.
Sorry, I was just trying to give him the remote and I hit the play button. Go on, say what you're saying.
What was I saying?
Oh, you lost it now.
Yeah. But cycling back to my mum, Jo Brand. Yes, the reason why I brought her up, Jo Brand recorded like a proper, like, nice 2-minute message. Not 1 minute.
Oh, really?
Not 30 seconds.
Yeah,
2-minute message.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. She filled up a lot of space. And it was really, 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 really sweet. And my mum like posted to Facebook. It got 4 likes. Like, she was really happy. So Jo Brand.
So she's all right.
And she gave a lot of good advice backstage. She was really nice.
So is your name Tadiwa? Tadiwa.
I mean, it's Tadiwa. The D is backwards.
Yeah. I remember one of your jokes, hope you don't mind me saying, making sure that you got the name right because you didn't want to offend anybody.
The joke I used, my name's Tadiwa Mahlunge, and a joke I did when I started writing when I was 18 was, it's the only name that's easier to say with a dick in your mouth.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, you said it.
I was a child.
It's like, yeah.
Hey, listen.
That's not bad for
it. Listen, when you're like 17, 18, you have nothing to talk about.
Right, yeah.
You just...
I'm always keen to find out what the tipping point was. When did you go from nothing to do with comedy to, I might give this a go?
I've been in love with stand-up since I was 12.
Right. Who was you watching?
Chris Rock and Dave Cappelle.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah.
Bootlegs online. And my American uncle brought over the Chappelle Show DVD. And he forgot it like a dum-dum. So that was just on loop.
Oops.
Like front to back, non-stop, every episode. I can quote it verbatim. So I was obsessed with that. And then I was into South Park. And then Louis C.K. was huge once I was like in like year 10, year 11. That was like everything for me. So yeah.
When did it come into your head about I might do this?
Do it. So I wanted to do physics because this is embarrassing. I liked the Big Bang Theory. If I'm honest with myself, that's what made me go physics is cool. Yeah. And then, but I also loved
the TV
studying.
show or the concept?
The TV show.
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I was stuttering and looking away. I couldn't make eye contact with either of you. I can't tell.
It was shameful.
It is shameful. It's shameful. I wanted to. I could fuck Kaylee Moco if I just learned some sums.
This is cool, yeah.
See, but then the damage TV does to young minds. Yeah.
I was radicalized.
Yeah, right.
By the Big Bang.
So you've probably not been the first to be.
I bet that's normal. That's your way in. Yeah, I might get girls because it's cool. You know, that's the era you've grown up in.
They can say yes, must plough into bus queue with my van.
You just want to say, look, girls don't really want to talk about planets, though. It's a TV show. So what happened where you...
I got really into studying and I loved it. I was doing like uni courses in like sixth form.
Yeah.
Like I was properly into it. But then I had a tutor who he was like an ex-Cambridge postgraduate trap person.
Yeah.
You can just never get tenure, but you keep doing in that trap. And so he was like... you're smart, you're really smart, but you cannot compete at the highest level. And because the competition is now international, you're not just competing with other.
But what did you want to do? Why was it?
I wanted to be a theoretical physicist. But he said you are intelligent enough to get to the point and complete your PhD, but you will never find
if that's
work.
your goal, it's not going to...
You will fail.
Yeah.
And crazy thing to say to a child.
Right. But although I only know Michio Kaku, I mean, that's one.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what I mean, though? Like, you gotta be like that level.
Yeah, you've got to be a genius or nothing.
Or because, like, China produces more A-star students than we produce students. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just a different level of
What can't you find on Temu nowadays?
So what happened? And you absorbed that fact. You thought, okay,
and like that's what made me go, okay, I can't be the best in the world at this,
right?
But this is not likable, but I was super like convinced. Even at an early age, that I was funnier than everyone I knew.
Right.
I was just certain of it. I don't know what convinced me of this, but it was just ethereal.
Were you the funny guy in the friendship, Friends, or not even that?
This...
It was just internally.
My mom told me this the other day, which is messed up. She told me this the other day, right? So, like I said, I started watching like South Park and stuff when I was 12. Way too early.
Yeah.
There was this Chris Rock bit where... I don't know how dirty I'm allowed to be.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
We're a couple of minutes in.
Yeah. There's a Chris Rock bit on Never Scared 2004, and he was like talking about rap music and the lyrics are misogynistic and degrading.
On South Park?
Not on Chris Rock on a stand-up special.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, women who like rap don't give a fuck. They can be saying anything on it. They can be saying, slack it with a dick, slack it with a dick, slack it with a dick, slack it with a dick. I mean, a dick in the ear, dick in the ear, flick in the ear, dick in the ear, fuck it in the eye, 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 blind the bitch, blind. I was 12 years old.
Did you even absorb what was being said?
I was taking it in.
Right, yeah.
And then I would do the bits to kids at school.
Right.
My mum and the kids at school would, why are you saying this?
Yeah.
I'm a child.
Yeah.
And so...
Blind the bitch with a dick.
No, like literally. My mum told me one time I was I must have been year 8 or year 9, and a teacher took her to the side who she wasn't even meant to see on the night. And the teacher was like, it was Mr. Llewellyn, and he was like, Miss Mahlunge, your son is telling jokes that they are funny, but I can't laugh or I'll lose my job.
Right, yeah.
And the other kids don't understand them.
Yeah.
So, can you feed that back to your son? Because I think it's quite important for his development.
And for my career.
Yeah. My mum told me that at 27 years old.
Oh, right.
I would have taken the industry note.
Yeah.
Like applied the edit.
She only just told you?
Never told me. She never told me.
Where did it come up?
It just came up. We're on the phone and we're just talking about comedy and how she doesn't like she was saying like there was a God joke I told her. It's like, it's blasphemous. You're going to go to hell, and I worry for your soul.
Oh, okay, right.
And like that's
right. Isn't it weird though? Because I mean, at that age, you're just repeating words. You don't understand any context.
That's the thing, you don't even understand.
Yeah.
You know it's a dirty word.
Yeah.
But you don't really understand the full gravity.
It'd be like talking about death. You don't know it's a thing, but you just
feel it. Like, so like when I was 16, I was probably 17. That's when I started writing jokes. Because I was like, I was balls deep. I was a proper comedy nerd at that point.
What was the first microphone you tapped?
I was 8. Oh, well, I did musical theatre as a kid. Right, okay. A lot. So like I was.
So you were used to being in front of people. So that's halfway.
I was I was the lead soprano for choir in Cardiff, like the main cathedral.
Right. Yeah.
Until my balls dropped. Yeah. Which sucked. But yeah, like I craved the attention. Like I played Black Jesus at the Easter plays consecutively.
What year was that?
Year 10 and year 11.
Quite
in
a progressive
Wales.
school.
In
Wales.
Wales.
I was about to say, yeah.
No, it wasn't progressive at all. I was the best they had. It was a meritocracy.
Right, okay.
And I was number 1. That was the thing. Miss Evans there was always the best performer would play Jesus. And then my time came and they were like, this is a risk.
Yeah. But
we're gonna do it.
Did you how did you end up in Wales?
I was born in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
My mother was like a very politically active lawyer, which in I don't know if you know a lot about Africa, but they don't like women over there. So like,
what do you mean they don't like women?
It's not cool. It's just not right. Like,
I've been to Gambia.
It's the misogyny is on a different.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
And so when a woman is gabbing up about the dictator, it's not.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's
double plus.
Double. You know. So there was political violence targeted at our family, and we were under threat. So she had to flee. And a couple of years later, me and my grandfather and my older sister came as well. And so we moved to London for a year, and she stayed in London and retrained as an immigration lawyer because she was like a human rights lawyer before. Because immigration law is the fastest one to get into, so she can start making money.
Yeah.
And me and my grandparents and my older sister moved to Cardiff because it was easier to get NHS jobs. My nan's a nurse.
Right, yeah.
So it's just faster.
And
so they just, mum was in London, we were in Wales, and that's why I grew up in Cardiff.
What did you do after school? Did you go to university?
Yeah.
Oh, you said
I studied maths and computer science.
Oh, okay.
At Lancaster Uni. And that's where I did my first gig. My comedy society didn't let me in because I was too offensive.
Oh, you were still doing Chris Rock's.
I started at 10.
Right, yeah, I was going to say,
It's an interesting thing in stand-up. Every stand-up goes on a journey, especially at the start when you're figuring out. There's few people. There's the odd person like Rob Beckett or like Sean Walsh that just come in as what they end up being, and they just know what they are from immediately. But most comedians go on a journey. The journey is usually amplifying your true self or making your true self palatable. So not like suppressing it, but finding a way to articulate it properly. So mine was on the latter of like, I started off like Kanye's speeches in the middle where he just goes off, you know? And I started off
the best example? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was the best. Just an overflow of emotion. Just crazy. And I had to like rein it in. That's the way to describe it. Yeah, I had to rein that in. Yeah. And so, that's why they wouldn't, because they didn't let me in because I was just, my university, there was a article that went out, I'm not sure if it was the Guardian or the Observer, but it was like ranking universities in the UK for free speech issues. Okay. And mine ranked like third lowest in the country.
Oh, God. What uni was it?
Lancaster University.
Oh, okay, right.
The Students' Union had a lot of political power, and they're children.
Yeah.
And so, like, they've never had power before. They don't know how to exercise it. They weren't born to it. It's not like a university where it's just private school kids like Oxford, so they actually know how to handle that power. Like the Oxford Students' Union actually kind of like, because they're all fucking aristocrats, they're already kind of bred to handle it. These were just normal kids that were just like, free. Here's the keys to the castle. Do what you want. Yeah. They were over there. They just, and rightfully so. They were trying to protect disenfranchised groups in society, but in the roads to hell is paved with good intentions. So that was that. So our students' union was crazy, and so I wasn't like. So I started off doing music gigs at working man's pubs.
What were you doing?
I wasn't playing anything. I was doing jokes.
Oh, at music places.
I would ruin people's evenings. I mean, it was like
no music. Here's a random guy.
Bro, people are having dinner.
Right.
People are reconnecting with people they haven't seen in years. Lancaster's not a big town.
Yeah.
People would come back to like, I've got to visit my family. Let's go to the Hen and Chicken. And then they're having like a good deep chat, and the music is playing lovely folk music.
In the background.
Ting, 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 ting. All right, everyone, shut the fuck up.
Listen to the nuances of my comedy.
Do material that is not good. It was so rude.
What was your first open mic?
First open mic. I was booked for 10, which is...
Was that a student gig?
No, this was like... this is the day before my first lecture, so they hadn't even...
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, right.
I just turned 18.
Yeah.
And like... it's the open mic, and the music's playing, and then... the poetry is allowed, but for the poetry, like they kind of ooh.
Poetry. I love university students.
The comedy
so
starts.
Deep.
Yeah, the comedy starts.
Right.
And it's not in sections. It's just everyone's. So I go on, and then they stop talking, and then I'm not good, so they start again, and it's start until like only the 4 people in the front are listening.
Oh, right.
And then the closest I got to a laugh was a... I remember that
counts.
cough.
That counts.
I remember that cough.
To this day, I'm not sure if it was a laugh or a cough.
No, it was a cough. I remember it for the rest of my life. I remember exactly what I saw of the room of people silently begging me to go off.
Yeah.
I was booked for 10. I did 2.
Oh, no.
And I just went off, went back to my dorm. I just shook.
Right, shocked.
I just shook.
Adrenaline dump, yeah.
And then, like, it took a week for me, because it was like, how do I express it? It was coming down from believing in my core that I'm a comedy
and the
god.
reality hit you.
And the reality hit me that I'm like anyone else.
It's just been in your head.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I gotta become good.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a long time. And then after a week, I was like, all right, this is the journey. I'm going to become good at all costs. This is how it,
I've spoken to a couple of comedians, and it's this weird thing. It sounds like a cliche, but you need to be kicked in the guts and told you've got to work. So you were sort of on the perfect path of comedy. Not that you had delusion, you got lucky and some people laugh. You had to be told, right, this is the real world. And you went, right, let's go forward. So you were doing what comedians are supposed to do in their career at the beginning.
And just
because there was a guy I spoke to, he said years ago, he said most comedians, unless you get lucky, he said you start off going on stage, obviously riddled with insecurity, but thinking you want to do it, or you have to do it because you can't do anything else. He said, and you're pretending to be like 4 or 5 people, but you don't want people to know. He said, then you do that for 5 years. That doesn't work because it's not really you. He said, then you have a few years of being broke and not being married and depression and everything. And then you get sick to death of everyone and you stop giving a shit. And then you start being you. And that's when success carries on.
No, that's when the uptick is. When you've lost everything to the point where, once you have nothing to lose, then it's just genius bit after genius bit, because like, I don't care what these people fucking think. You know, just, I'm going to say it exactly how I am. And it's all smokes and mirrors. It's because like, the best material in the world that murders in a theater will die in some random gig in a random town the next day. So it is all just perception and like the belief of the audience that you are an orator that's worth listening to. And so like that when you get to that place, that deep dark place of like fuck it, that conviction you have on stage of that I don't care, that carries through to the audience. And they're like, oh shit, he believes this shit.
Yeah, it's not an act now. This is this person's personality.
Audiences can smell weakness as well.
Absolutely.
They can.
Like, if you don't believe what you're saying, I don't believe
they don't
you.
like that. No,
there was a oh god, I'll have to say his name. It's a shame when people have done things wrong who used to be good and said good quotes. So what was the Cosby, Bill Cosby?
Yeah,
was that his name? Anyway, but years before, somebody asked him.
I'll stay. He's the GOAT.
Yeah. I'm talking about
but not for the reason you think.
So let's go back to the 90s or the 80s, right? Somebody asked him, because people won't know what he was at that time.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Right, you can't imagine. Right, I'm going to tell you something, actually. Anyway, somebody said to him, like, what's your secret?
Yeah.
And he said... I should not have paused there.
Sweat coming down his face.
Because I meant to say, what's your secret of success? I genuinely accidentally paused on that bit. Oh, this isn't going well at all. I feel like I should move on. It's sort of blown.
No.
Somebody asked him, what's your secret of success?
Yeah.
And he said, it's not trying to please both ends of the room. He said, because any room you're in, a few people will like you because of the specifics of you. Yeah. He said, as soon as you try to get everybody, you stop being you. Other people won't like you anyway. And the people that did like you won't like you because you're being somebody else.
Yeah.
He said, so stop trying to please everyone. Yeah. Please a few people and they'll follow you forever.
Yeah.
And then you add people on. He said, stop trying to please both ends.
PM Navalny, who is not like Cosby in any way.
Legally, we have to say that. Yep.
He's an excellent.
Was he Canadian or French?
No, he's South African, but French and
smart guy. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's because it's gross glazing over your friends, but like he told me, build deep, not broad.
Yeah.
And I mean,
well, do you know what? I listened to the audiobook of because I said we do comedy writing. What's I always forget the name. So the Cotswolds comedy on BBC One. This country. Have you seen it?
Our country.
Anyway, so it's about 2 people in the Cotswolds. Anyway, so I can't remember the bloody name now. But anyway, so
Daisy May.
Daisy May. That's it. So I listened to her autobiography. Anyway, and that show is about 2 people in the Cotswolds growing up in the Cotswolds. Yeah. I mean, that's not broad. That's very specific. And it's about a girl and a cousin, like walking around. So have you seen an episode?
No.
Okay, so it's done very well. Won all the awards.
Television is a real failure.
Yeah, same as me. Literally, there's only a few. But what's that? Anyway, and it's all just like you couldn't think this would work because it's just 2 people walking around the street and there's the uncle and it's very nuanced. And she said that comedy is basically having the confidence to do nuance.
Yes.
Because you think it's just funny to you. Yeah. And you go, well, no one else is going to laugh at that. And so if you've got the balls to just say, look, I'm just going to tell you what I find funny.
Yes.
You know, I hate when somebody wears red or yellow. It annoys me. Yeah. And you go, well, that's not funny. That's not. You go, but other people go, oh, I feel, that's me.
Yeah.
He said, but you haven't got the balls to be that confident. You go, well, nobody else is going. Like, there's loads of people. You go, nobody's going to find that funny.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend don't find it funny. And what? But if you got the balls to make it, then you realise, you're everyone really.
Yeah.
So you need to get to the point where you're saying things that nobody else is saying. You don't want to be at the other end. We go, oh, look, I fell over. Isn't it funny? You know, you're trying, but you've got to have the confidence. And I remember when I was doing magazines, a long story, I met a designer, a Playboy editor helped me out when I was trying to put a magazine together because I didn't know how to do it. And it was just random people met me. And he was talking about designing. And he said, don't get a designer at the start because you're looking for elegant designs. Yeah. He said, but when they start, they cannot help themselves that try and prove everything they can do. So when they design something for you, it'll be all over the top and look what's in the magazine and all. He said it takes that. You can't get over that because they have to prove it to you. That's the age they're at. He said you need somebody who's been doing it long enough so that they're not trying to ram down you. Like, look how good I am. Look how good I am. Yeah. Anyway, and I got somebody to design wedding magazines. And I got the design the first time for the front cover, and I thought, well, I could have done that, and I thought, oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's not the cover of Smash Hits where there's 10 different colours and look what I can do, or whatever. But basically, it reminded me of the comedy thing of like it takes a long time before you're confident enough to not keep proving things to people. And so when that Daisy May said, she said, so when you watch the show, it's such nuanced stuff. It's time. I mean, she did one where it was about...
it's very low-key kind of thing, you know what I
mean? Yeah, where she's trying to make money and they grow up in like the middle of nowhere, like there's nobody about. Yeah. And she starts doing those pyramid scheme, like, there's this Nutri something company. Yeah. And I'd known one. I said, I forget these packets and I sell them and then I get other people to sell them. Yeah. And it was just all about that. And I thought, that's not a big thing, but you get it. Like you go, oh, right, I've heard of that. And obviously it's like somebody's going, isn't it a pyramid? And she goes, isn't it a pyramid scheme? And they show it and the pyramid's upside down. That's not a pyramid scheme. You go, right, okay. But so it really is that the confidence to just do your thing. But you can't, when you're young, you can't help it unless you're a fantasist.
Unless you're crazy. Yeah. When I did... work experience at Airbus.
What's Airbus? I know the name.
It's a
property rental.
No. It's a European defense company.
Oh, wow.
They make planes.
They make planes.
Oh, I think of Airbnb
ships and stuff. Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so the ABs. There you go. That's proof of dyslexia right there.
The core rule, the most important rule in engineering is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Just keep it bare bones. The more complexity, the hardest thing for a creative person to do is distill complexity into simplicity. Yeah. Because simplicity is the only way to get ideas incepted into people's minds.
I knew a guy who liked old classic cars, and I asked him once about why he doesn't have a modern car. Like he had a Mercedes that were like looked like brand new, but they were like 25 years old. Yeah. He said because the new ones, there's too many moving pieces. Yeah, Not literally, just there's another chip and another chip, and he said there's more shit to go wrong with it.
Yep.
I remember having a car.
That's why they're so expensive, by the way. Now,
because
the regulatory framework is so like comprehensive now that you need so many parts. It literally cannot be cheap anymore.
Right.
It's when you had to start. It's when they came to fix your car and they had to bring a laptop.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like the line.
I knew.
Yeah. Before they didn't come with like a wrench and like a little thing and a spanner or whatever.
Yeah. I knew laptop. I was used to like
boot up
£2,000 cars at most for years, like just the second hand, get rid of it. But anyway, and a friend of mine bought a brand new Audi, a 4x4. Yeah. And I remember seeing the engine. And it had a plastic cover over it, and just out of stupidity, and I said, "What if you want to fix like?" And he's looking like, "Mate, you don't touch these. It's not the 1980s. Don't fiddle about with this engine."
Yeah, mate, this is a Formula One. Yeah. You don't fix this.
I thought, oh right, I'm so used to like something goes wrong, you open up and go, I can sort of probably get us home. Like there's a pipe that's burst, I can tie it. And I thought, what stupid, this gone. Because you could, I lived in a car for 3 years after I was homeless.
Isn't that like an allegory for society, though?
Yeah, I suppose,
But unless it's, because you always say this, but unless you open it up and there's like, I think Jerry Seinfeld said this, unless there's like you look and there's a switch that says like
on,
and then it's gone to off, and you just go
yeah,
and then it just, unless it's like that.
But at least you had the dignity of being able to go, let me look under this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But most cars, like these old cars I had, you could open the bonnet and you could see the floor because there wasn't a lot there. It was like, there's the engine, there's a couple of pipes, and you open this and go, no, it's just a they put the cover, you can't even see it. It's just a solid mass of I don't know what's going on in it. But how did we end up on that? Cars and car engines. Complexity,
function, getting in the way of utility.
Yeah, no, that's complicated even more.
Sorry.
Right, so your first gig went terrible, as it should.
Yeah, as it should. Damn right should.
Did you immediately come back, or did you quit, or did you?
I did. I quit. I've quit comedy 7 times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But between the first gig and the next gig, I did not quit.
Right. How long was the second one? Till the second one?
1 week.
Okay, so you had enough.
So
got straight back.
I got back straight on the horse.
And how did that go?
Better.
Yeah,
a lot better. I got I think I was trying to reach 10. So like I think I was on stage like 5 the second time, and then I gradually kept getting longer and longer because I've always been very sensitive to when they're not enjoying it. It hurts me a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend and I have a arrangement now. When I enter the house and there's a look on my face, she'll say, "Do you need the room?"
Yeah, you're right.
Like, really, like sympathetically, like a mum. And she just knows I need to play Xbox. I need to take it out on the computer.
I can't talk to anyone. I've got no interest in anything else.
Like, and she's horny. She wants to fuck. But I'm like,
even
I will not. Because I'll just be thinking about the gig. And you don't want that. You know.
Well, isn't that Frank Skinner? When he was like recently. Oh, he does a show with Pierre, I think.
Yeah.
And he said, even recently said, it's just that one person that's not laughing.
Yep.
That will just ruin every. Like,
that matters less and less to me now. Now I'm like, that's a statistical outlier.
Yeah.
You can't, that's.
Yeah.
But
using your physics there.
These are my little fucking. But yeah, for me, it's more of I did everything I could to drop my guard and try to connect with you, and I put myself out there, and I really tried to give you a part of my heart, and you rejected that.
Oh, right.
And that hurts a lot because that's like one of those, as an immigrant, I'm always a bit afraid that I'll never truly assimilate ever, no matter how hard I try, and I'll never be truly a British person. And so like when I get an audience just go, I will not attempt to understand your life experience. That's where I'm like crying on the train.
Right. Can you remember what your first jokes were? Like early days, or even the opening game.
When I went to, by the time I was at uni, my biggest influences were Anthony Jeselnik, Mitch Hedberg, Hannibal Buress, Jimmy Carr, Frankie Boyle. Those were my Mount Rushmore at that point.
Yeah.
So like I was a one-liner comic at that point. I was also super into Stuart Lee, who was just the like airiest, just fluff, just wasting the audience's time, just a fucking bullshitter.
It's light entertainment.
Well, no, it's sort of a meta comment. The whole thing is like a meta commentary on stand-up.
Yeah,
right. It's actually very sophisticated. He sort of comments on jokes as he's saying.
Yeah,
right.
But but at times he is pushing the boundaries of the audience's patience.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, it's not, but he's kind of messing with people.
Yeah, really?
He's a guy. No, he's not. He's my hero, and he's real super nice to me when we met, and it was great. Anyway, so I was into both types. So when I first started writing, I was writing Stuart Lee monologues.
Right, okay.
And then when I got hit by a bus, I was like, all right, how can I get a laugh as quickly as possible and minimize the space between the two laughs? Yeah. And so, when I started writing, my material was all like, it was on the perimeter of being dated. It was like shocking, offensive one-liners, two-liners, but that was really good because it was very important. By the time, now my material is like, very conversational. But because I wrote one-liners for years, your material is really gag heavy. It's like, that's what a joke is.
Right,
It's like, it's a story, but it's written in very short jokes.
Right, yeah.
So that's
it's funny because, you say that. I suppose when you are younger, you need to hear the laughter. You can't be doing monologue. You've got to get that pleasure kick in. You've got to become addicted to that that adrenaline of the laughter.
That too.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the stones,
right? Yeah,
to stand there and explain a long premise,
right,
before giving a good.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the stones. Now I kind of do. There are some of my best, my favorite, not best, but some of my favorite jokes in the current hour are jokes where like I'm explaining quite a complex thing. Kind of, I'm a little bit like Chappelle. But like a little bit like what Chappelle is doing now, where he'll explain something complex, and you think he's just doing a speech now, and then out of nowhere, boom, cut you.
Right.
And you don't see it coming. It sounds like he's just talking.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I like, where it's like fighting Mayweather, where it's like, how did you punch me from that angle? Like, you were in guard.
Yeah.
How did you get through?
And he also does the opposite, where he'll be quite jokey, and then he'll suddenly just hit you something quite serious, and you go, oh, wow, shit.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I saw something. It was recently because I've got confused what I was watching. I don't know if it was Ricky Gervais. Who did Seinfeld? Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. I was thinking of Larry David from The Curb. Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. And the guy was saying, he said, I loved the fact you had such balls that you wouldn't like build up a premise. You'd come in. He said one of your jokes was literally, you'd pick up the mic, go, hi, you go, so what's with insects? Do they know where they're going? Like it just straight into like, I don't give it. I've just got a thought off the top of my head. Like I think they're going here, they're going there. I thought, oh yeah, I get that. Like, there's no, it's just straight in.
The ballsiest intro, and it's something you can only do once you reach that level, is Carlin. Because he goes on stage and people are just dying to hear what he has to say.
I haven't heard any of his stuff. I know he is, but go on.
He opens a special, I think it was in 1992, and he goes, you ever noticed the people who are anti-abortion are people you would want to fuck in the first place?
Jesus Christ.
Opening line.
Let's just get out, Lloyd. This is what this is the night. Get ready for this. Yeah. Leave now if you need to.
It's only going to get worse from here, guys.
Is there anyone new that we'd know that, like in the last couple of years, that you've started to follow?
Ari Matti, I think, is going to end up being the greatest comedian.
Where's he from? What's the name? Matti?
Estonian.
Oh, okay, right.
He's. I was having not an argument, but defending. I defend Joe Rogan a lot. I think he is a legendary comedian. I think he has done a lot of good for comedy, and He's also poisoned the well and done a lot of toxicity for society. But he's platformed great comedians: Shane Gillis, Sam Tallent, Ali Makovsky. There's great people that would never have made it through. Tom Segura, when Segura was still good. Joey Diaz, when Joey Diaz was still there's great comics that would never have been platformed without Rogan. Plus, he made this conversation happen. He made sure, between him and Mark Maron, he taught us there is a way around the industry and you can actually become very successful. This conversation in this building would not be happening right now without Joe Rogan's influence, right? Yep. So he has done a lot of good for comedy in the world, and he's also poisoned the well. Both are true.
Yeah.
But why did I say this? Oh yeah, Ari Matti is one of the good of the new generation that's come out of the Rogan verse. And yeah, he's just.
Where's he? What is he in England or is he America?
He's in America.
Okay,
but he,
what's his sort of style?
It's like. It's similar to Shane Gillis, where it's a liberal comedy that sounds right wing.
Oh, okay.
So you can get the idiots and mouth breathers on board because you're saying the words they want to hear. Yeah. But he's actually saying smart stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and the way he talks, every word is a sentence.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's so slow in a way I could never have the balls to be that slow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, confidence.
It's so confident. Unearned.
Yeah. Unearned as well. Yeah.
A black comedian in America's level of confidence.
Right,
What's up, Houston? Why is this guy like himself this much?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
What are there like old comedians still about? Or do they seem to drop off? They hit TV and then you don't.
Do you know what happens to them? They acquire a property empire in the 1990s,
right?
And then
because Jimmy Carr? How old is he?
I always think that like
60?
with comedians,
early 50s.
Oh,
yeah.
And he's just changed his face all the time now.
Yeah,
he's like Arya Stark, faceless woman.
Oh no, he started all that.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's all the downhill. Once you open the door,
you have to have a caption. He appears in like the newspaper now. You have to have a little caption to see who he is because you're like, who's that fella there? You go, it's Jimmy Carr. That's what it looks like
Jimmy Carr Bravos.
He's just like,
Jesus,
Take
he didn't need
Balamagulis.
Well, you know.
But it's not like he was a wrinkled old prune. It's just you're going to start trying to be perfect, and that doesn't work. So why carry on?
That wouldn't have happened if he hadn't gone to America.
Oh right,
because he was around people that just
and it's just there, and I know someone hears his number. You won't notice, and then once that door opens,
it's already
you've done.
Well, male British comics who don't do that stuff. No one should. No, we should create a society where everyone, male or female, is allowed to age gracefully.
Yeah. Well, that was Helen Mirren. She said what happened is about 20 years ago in America.
Yeah.
Why they started getting so many British actresses over there.
Yeah.
She said because it was great because they'd all done the plastic surgery, so they couldn't emote properly because the faces weren't right. So you couldn't have a serious scene with somebody that's had like emotional thing, and you had plastic surgery. So they had to come to England to get them to then come over so that they had the natural old emotional faces.
Do you know what's been difficult is watching Nicole Kidman.
I was just waiting for you to
absolutely murder scenes, but you can't see what she's trying to know because you just can't.
I was holding on to the name Nicole Kidman as you just before you said that because I saw an advert. I hadn't seen it, and I suddenly saw it, and I thought, and in the advert she laughs and does that thing where she covers her mouth because they can't laugh properly, so they have to do that thing. Because I dated somebody who lived in America, and I was saying, why is everyone wearing all the scarves and things? Like it's hot. It's like in Beverly Hills. And she said because. Now, bear in mind, it's my naivety again kicking in. Just going, it's hot.
Because the neck, or
yeah, she said because they can't do anything about the hands and the neck. So they have to wear gloves, like netting gloves.
It's like a hijab for narcissists.
Yeah, that's what. But that's what it is. You go, why would you do that to yourself? So now it's like you see a chat show or something. Somebody's done plastic surgery. You see the scarf and they've got gloves on because the hands. You go, but the problem is you've got to go home and look in the mirror. And what does that look like?
They've got old lady hands. That's why.
But then but the thing is, they surround themselves with it because you have enough money at that with a circle that will just say you look great, you look great, you look great. Your manager, your agent, your producers,
you need it for money,
your family.
Well, that's what we was talking, and she said you have to remember they basically just care about their face.
Yes,
that's the most. The other bit doesn't. Their personality doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's what you see on. And I thought, Christ,
it's brutal.
And like you said, they'll say, do you want that advert or do you not want it?
Yeah,
they can't. We want the hair thing. Do you not? Do you want the soap advert? Well, you need to. You go.
But Nicole Kidman, to her credit, has in the last, I think, few years, I don't know the number of years, she's done nothing but female-led projects.
Right.
Stuff directed or written by women to try and platform people who are not there. So it's like, there's some actors, Louis C.K., and I think it's kind of uncharitable that he says this. I agree because I've met a few actors, but at the same time, he says great actors are like an empty vessel. That's why they're also impossible to talk to. You just pour whatever
and they
you
become
want
what it
them,
is,
and they become, But there are some, you meet some people who are like incredible actors. You're like, why do you have a personality? That's
right.
Very substantive, not usual.
That's weird if they do. Yeah.
I listened to what was his name? Michael Moore. Is that the left wing? Yeah. I think he did a show with and he spoke, or a podcast, and he spoke to Eddie Murphy, and they had a chat. And I thought, I haven't heard from Eddie Murphy. I know he's doing some little things, but I hadn't heard from him a while. I didn't really follow his comedy. I was like, Marv's doing other things at that time, and I thought, listen. And I hadn't realised how quite deep and artistic he is. It's like when people laugh at Sylvester Stallone, and you realise, this guy's steeped in sort of art history and beauty, and very brutally honest. I mean, somebody asked him, like, why are you still trained at 70? He said, vanity. I said, just like, I like to know I look good, Anyway, so I speak to the Eddie Murphy thing. They said, why are you not seen and why are you not out and about? He said, I don't like celebrities. He said, and I don't go to award shows. He said, because the only thing being around a celebrity, like, who's just vain and doesn't care about you, is being a room full of people like that. I said, that's what he said. I got sick to death of talking to people and them saying hello while they're looking over your shoulder. He said, "I'm not." He said, "I
at
don't
the
like
Edinburgh Fringe, there's the Pleasance, which is like the. I mean, it's debatable. It's the big three of Pleasance, Assembly, and Underbelly, and then you have Monkey Barrel as the insurgent. I don't know if you watch Formula One, it's like Red Bull, and then anyway. But the Pleasance is like the most established one, and there's a room, there's a bar, Brooks Bar. And there's a thing called Brooks Bar syndrome, where you go in and you're talking to someone, and every conversation you have, someone is looking over the shoulder at a more important person.
Yeah. But what is it? What is it? A celebrity thing.
It's networking. It's a networking thing.
But even then, it's not like the billionaires are walking in.
It's Terminator vision for networking. Basically, you're just going
trying to find.
But I can understand if Madonna walked in, but you're not going to
agent
reviewer.
Okay, they know that.
You're trying to hunt down whoever can make. Well, in the defense of the people who do this, the Edinburgh Fringe now is not the Edinburgh Fringe. It's the Edinburgh Arts Festival. It's an expensive thing to do. It's hard. And it takes a month. You're doing it every day, and it's not like you're just doing your show. If you're about it, you're doing like 4 or 5 shows a day, every day for a month. It's a lot. So to try and justify the suffering of that experience, which is a form of suffering, it is. And it's pathetic to be in a Western world where you can, you're not getting. It's not like being a kid in fucking rural China. It's not like being an Indian kid. But it is a form of suffering to do that every day for a month.
Yeah.
To justify that, you are trying to maximize every opportunity you can.
Yeah, it's not.
I understand the people who do.
Yeah, the networking things, that's part of life.
Yeah.
But it's the weakness to be having. I can't control looking at that person. That's because that shows a lack of empathy and controlling who you are.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if somebody else walked in, I'd have to say to you, "Oh my God, there's the Queen or whatever."
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be looking and talk. That shows something wrong with you, that you're not a grown up, that you can't do compound like
you should. And I do this because I have that in me.
Yeah. Oh, it's there, but you just don't. Yeah.
Oh, what I'll do is I'll say, this. It's like I'll do it like a hot girl walking in the bar in the 2000s. Like, hey, look at that.
Yeah.
You see him? I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah.
I like you and I care about you.
Yeah.
But there's money over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there.
If it was that important, you would just go, okay, right, and you'd give it 10 seconds and then filter it off to then go.
No,
but to look away from somebody's eye, that takes balls.
No, I'm very lucky in that my friend Adam Kumas the other day was, you have a disarming level of honesty.
Right.
And it's like... everyone knows where they stand with me. No one in comedy is like, have you heard Tad is a little bit... It's like, he is,
But in life's simple that way. When people get tied up in like, I'm not telling them this, and they go, it's too much energy.
It's like that. It's hard.
Just annoy people and just then clear everybody out. And the ones that stick about, will like the comedy. They're the ones that like you.
Yeah, I have a very deep connection with a limited number of comedians. I'm very lucky to have the friends I have.
Right.
I'm also very lucky because this hurts and stand up. People stop. Like we were talking about the older comics.
Yeah.
People do stop.
Yeah.
And I've made
stop or quit.
Quit.
So you mean it could go on, but they just don't.
And it breaks your heart. I have some friends right now. I was saying a friend I was talking to at a shindig yesterday. And because he's quit his job to do stand-up full time, and we was talking about our routines, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna can always call. I don't care that I'm gonna make you feel bad. I will always call you out on this because you're too talented for it to be wasted. You're wasting it right now. You should need to get your shit together and apply yourself.
How old is he?
He
roughly?
Is a couple years older than me.
Okay, so it's not like his 60s. Like
but it is. Yeah, and it's. Is
it married or something? Is it?
No. Just
why did he quit? Do you think
he's not quit? He does stand up full time.
Yeah.
But he's just not applying himself.
Oh,
and
I can see the
way this is going.
Oh, yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah,
I can see the way this is going to go.
Yeah.
And I've had friends who I thought were great comedians who have stopped because they were like, I just can't. And it's like, well, mate, you didn't write.
Yeah.
You didn't
write. Yeah.
Sacrifice aspects of your life and aspects of yourself to do what was fucking necessary to get to the next level. You got to work.
Yeah.
It's not a game.
Yeah.
It's hard. You're competing with the best people in the world all the time. I'm sorry, but it's hard. Yeah. And you have to take that on the chin and be a fucking
it's not coming to you. You've got to go to it.
Yeah, it's fucking hard to be a great comedian. Yeah. And you have to work hard. And being an okay comedian is not enough anymore. Yeah. Because now it's so oversaturated. Like the clubs... they get their hands behind their back. I have a booker that I was talking to years ago where he was like, in comedy, there's a thing called progression, and you go from the 5-minute open mics to the 10-minute open spot, it's an unpaid spot in the comedy clubs, like the commercial clubs, and then you progress from that to maybe they have a 15-minute spot, you get paid £75, and then you're the paid 20 spot, which in London will get paid £70. But yeah, it's disgusting. But outside of London, you'll be, averages out to like 150 to 250. If you go up north, it's easily £200 a pop.
Really? So it's a bit more outside London then?
Yeah, you got to go up north to make real money.
So there's less competition.
Is that because there is
no. It's because the northern people give a shit about each other.
Oh, really?
And they're not...
they're not money hungry down.
Stephen Grant and I were talking. He's a promoter based in Brighton. We were talking. He was like, in 1999, I booked an act to headline for me at the Comedia for £250. And a couple years ago, I booked the same act for the same money, because like that's just that's what they will perform for that. And there's a part of you that's like, hey man, you could have paid him more. Yeah. You are the bottleneck in this. But because they will always be comedians, there'll never be a union because there'll always be someone willing to undercut.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, there was talking to a promoter years ago, and he was like, I want to progress you, I do, but every person like you that I progress, I'm taking money out of the mouths of my friends that I started with.
Yeah.
If I progress you to opener to getting, starting off the show, that's a person who started 10 years ago that's no longer doing that spot.
Yeah.
Once I make you a headliner, that's a national headliner that's no longer doing that spot.
Right, yeah.
So there is like because of the fucking sheer volume of comics now, you have to be exceptional to be paid. Yeah. You just have to be.
Yeah.
It's just
I wonder, was it easier 20 years ago?
It was.
There was less of ways of getting yourself out there, but there was less of you, so it's that
way
weird
less
thing.
Of you.
Yeah.
And also, what's it called? It was easier to stand out if you were off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And also, you could do new material in the professional clubs.
Right.
There was people like the Iceman, where his whole act was just carving out a sculpture out of ice as the ice melted on stage, and he'd comment on this, and it's just funny. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm so sorry, I'm losing the word. the bizarreness of it, and just the
just the visuals. Yeah. And
that doesn't exist anymore.
He's telling jokes as he was doing
telling jokes as he's doing it. That doesn't exist anymore. It's like, that's too weird. You could never get. Why would I book someone who will do that and might bomb?
Right.
Versus booking someone who will do one-liners, who's got that savvy commercial mind, who will boom, 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 boom,
and doesn't bring a block of ice with him.
Doesn't bring a block of ice. I don't have to mop up the floor.
Christ.
It's far more competitive now.
Have you ever shifted paths like drastically when you've been doing comedy? Have you gone? Because at the start you said you went from doing the long stuff to getting the gags.
Yeah.
Have you sort of progressed slowly? Was there ever been any big change where you go, I shouldn't do that, like I shouldn't dress like that, I shouldn't do that?
Oh God, it's been in terms of like appearance and stuff
or anything. So
so there's about I'd say about 6 or 7 gigs roughly that I've had in my life where whatever reason I've just been kind of vulnerable out before it, and then it just knocks me over and I change my entire wardrobe.
So how did you go shoot in suit and tie?
I used to have a suit. I used to wear a suit.
Oh, right. I wore trainers on the suit.
No.
Oh, no, you
I
didn't do
tried
that.
trainers on the suit once to look like Seinfeld.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I liked the Mulaney suit. I liked the,
What's that?
the John Mulaney. I liked the look of the classical 1950s professional comedian. I liked that look.
Right.
I'm on stage. I'm the performer for the evening.
Right, yeah,
I'm going to do the thing. But the problem with that is the British audience, because my persona is kind of high status on stage.
Right, okay.
I like myself a lot.
Yeah, right.
You can't do that and also wear the suit.
Yeah.
Because then
right.
you're punching down. Doesn't matter that I'm black.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that I grew up poor.
I thought you might have thrown the trainers on to go, but hey, look, I'm not really one of them. I'm
No, it's the suit.
Right. Okay.
Didn't work.
I
come off like a fucking aristocrat just because of the way I sound.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I tried wearing like joggers and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Cool jackets on stage. I used to wear the jewelry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Stuff as well. But there's a thing with the British people love modesty. The country, is and forever will be a centre-right country. Because we're a gerontocracy.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of old people, and there always will be. And also, young people have no money anymore.
Right.
And because wages have just not kept up with inflation for 30 years. And so when you go on tour, it's not a cool, young, hip crowd.
Right, yeah.
It is a bunch of pensioners because they're the only ones that can afford to go see anything.
Right, yeah.
And so if you're performing to them, you need to reflect their values of some modesty, some, reining it in. You got to rein it in a little bit. Until you are a massive celebrity. And only at that point can you be eccentric.
Yeah, right.
But on the way up, it's like, I don't
you got to tiptoe a little bit.
You got to tiptoe. I don't. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think you are? Which is a question that has been asked of me by audiences silently with their eyes. A lot.
I get it on the bus all the time, don't worry.
How long have you been with your missus? Is it like a marriage thing?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years. So it's not like she's been there for the whole journey. I was wondering how that goes with relationships, because you basically can't have a decent relationship. Because
you can.
Yeah.
You have to be really smart about it.
But you're basically saying, I'm off to club.
We share Google calendars, so she knows she knows where I am, what the game is, and she knows way ahead of time.
Yeah, right. Okay, I suppose. Yeah.
Also, she's a comedy nerd.
Oh, okay. Well,
she used to watch. She loved SNL and stand-up specials, and she, I took her on a date the other day, and we were in a restaurant, and we just walked through Soho, and we were about to go home. And I was like, where do you think you're going? She was like, we're going towards Tottenham Court Road. I was like, that's not where we're going. And I point at Soho Theatre, and Kevin Bridges is playing, and she goes, lose the fucking mind. And I was like, I'm the fucking best boyfriend. The best fucking boyfriend on earth. You're a lucky woman.
What sort of money? What the comedy shows, is it like 5s, 10s, 20s, 100?
It's a work in progress, so it was like 18 quid, that show.
So about 20 quid.
Yeah, 20 quid, yeah.
Cinema tickets.
But like, so she knows what the game is. She knows what the deal is. But I try, back when Jordan Peterson was good, he really changed my life and my not my approach to my work ethic, but my approach towards using my work ethic for the right reasons and using my work ethic for meaning, not just to accrue money. He's what the fuck? He said never stop dating. Basically, if you want a couple that stays for a long time, what you have to do is make sure you have 90 to 180 minutes a week of just being a couple. Yeah. And the biggest flaw that couples get into is they end up just being roommates. That cohabitate, work together, have dispassionate, detached sex in a comfortable position while thinking about each other's friends. Like that's the trap. So I make sure that there is always a date in the calendar. I make sure there's always a night where I'm in the house. I've made a really good meal, and like I've bought flowers or a scented candle. We're watching something interesting. We share podcasts, so we can always have stimulating conversation. Like a relationship is something that you have to not work at, because you can't look at it as work. You have to look at it as pruning a garden. Yeah. Finally, and you have to pay a lot of attention to, because it doesn't take a lot to go wrong to snowball into being in a bad relationship. And there's no reason to be in a bad relationship in life.
And you won't see it coming. It'll be so gradual.
Yeah, so gradual. You have to pay a lot of attention all the time. So we actually have a very, very, very good relationship.
I think, but literally on the last podcast we were speaking about this the other week, where they're saying you've got to have a date, because what it is also there's a barometer. You can tell if we don't keep that up. The second we make an excuse that month that we can't, that's when you know there's a problem. Because otherwise the years will just go by and you won't see it, and it will just happen. They say like the relationship's supposed to be a verb. It's not a thing you have. It's constantly going. It doesn't stop. You have to just work on it, which makes sense. But because I've always said with personal development things, said you can't keep an eye on stuff. Your body isn't used to keeping an eye on stuff, on small things. So you have to have things in place that are a line that you go, if I cross it. I've always said about like fitness. People laugh. I say you should be able to put your sock on standing up on the other foot. If you can't, that's a very, very basic thing of your body saying, right, something's wrong here. I have to sit down to put a sock on. That means there's something, your balance, the weight's off. It's just a little line. The relationship thing, okay, we have to go on once a month. That's minimum. Go out today once a month. And the second you make an excuse, doesn't matter what it is in that month, now you know there's a problem and you have to reset it. Otherwise it'll be 2 months and then 3 and then years later. Then you go, but you've got to need the lines in front of you to say, watch for that.
That's the number one reason why I'm scared of having kids. I don't know how it's gonna look after. Because it is a motherfucker of a job. First off, there'll never be a right time. But secondly, but it is more, as much work as you think it is. It's more than that.
Well, it's more work
consuming, isn't it?
It's more work than your life. The matter you work, you have to be more responsible because you're all right. But that every minute. That needs to be looked at. So it's the most important thing you've ever had, including yourself.
It's like now I have a new thing to worry about all the time. It's in my head. I now need to create room in my head for this thing that I have to worry about and think about all the time.
A friend of mine, he said, I imagine having a kid. He said, somebody said to him, right, imagine from now on, you've constantly got that kid on your shoulders. So they can't go and get food. They can't go, you've for the rest of your life, all day, all night, that child is on your shoulders. And you go, Ooh, that's a big... It's best not to think about it. Just take the weight of it on. Have you... we'll finish up here. So have you got any major plans in the future? Is there anything you'd like to do in the future?
Yes.
TV, you want to go...
I will be going to the Edinburgh Fringe this August. Cool. I'm doing a show called Hakuna Matata.
And you said that wrong, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Tad is I'm the
It wasn't a
show title in the British comedy.
What's the basis of it?
It's a show about ego.
Is it a problem-free philosophy?
Pardon?
Is it the problem-free philosophy?
It's a beautiful phrase. It means no. It's a show about identity and
it's not a play. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy show, but it's about my life because that's all I know, and you write what you know. But it's the lessons in it are written to be broad. And basically it follows, like I said, the loss of what I would have had in Zimbabwe. How we all have a life we could have had that was ripped away from us in some way or shape or form. There's always something that happened to everyone. And how you reform your identity on the back of that, and the different aspects of identity between ego, cultural belonging, relationships, and people that actually matter to you, and what you see when you look in the mirror, and how to negotiate a healthy relationship with identity within yourself, and not to be driven completely by fear or by the pain of a very specific event, because it's mean to say this, but something fucked up happened to all of us, and you kind of do have to firm it a bit, and just be a big boy. And
I mean, I always say everyone has a sad story. You know what I mean? Everyone has something in their past. When it comes, you talk to someone, you get to know someone, everyone, but they go, oh shit.
It's always a canon event. It's someone else's life.
Some things are worse than others. Don't get me wrong. Some things are like, oh dear, God Christ, but everyone has, everyone has, and we all have to try and deal with it.
Yeah. But the show is funny. I must preface that by saying I do not fuck around with my comedy. Yeah. I like not to be a wanker, but I write like a minimum of like 20, 30 hours a week. Like this show is fucking airtight.
Yeah. How long is the show for?
It's an hour.
An hour.
An hour. Long. Yeah. It's I think the sweet spot is 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But there's things I keep trying to take out that structurally, once they're gone, it loses. Something.
Have you performed it?
Oh, I've done. So my cycle is I do the 2-year cycle. Some people write a show every year, and that's why they're bad at comedy. I think you can't have enough happen. If you're a responsible, healthy person, there's not enough that's happened in your life every year.
Right, I see.
Unless you're a chaotic entity. Unless you're like, what's this name? It's this Mancunian guy, James, or someone like this. Hilarious man. I would he will never be a godfather of anyone's children. Like he's just an entity of pure chaos. And he writes a show every year, and it's a funny show because he is like just every sin, every of the deadly sins in my body. But I am not that. I am very responsible young man. So I take 2 years to write an hour.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you got enough content. There's a funny guy. I can't remember his name. He's talking about age. He must be about 60 something, late 60s.
Yeah.
And he looks like a skinhead, and he wears the suit.
Jeff Innocent.
Jeff, that's it. I was trying to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he basically looks like a racist. Yeah. Acts like a racist, talks like a racist, but he's dating a black woman.
No, married to a black woman.
Yeah.
Black
he's
children.
Funny, yeah. Because it's
unbelievable.
Because it's all out of place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The look, the sound, it shouldn't work. It looks like it is a
as well.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So he's got that. It's not an act. And you go, where did that come from? Like, how did that like the whole thing seems like you've made that whole has to be acting.
Yeah.
You go, no, you can see in the comedy that he knows what he's talking
but
about.
It's like what you were saying earlier. Some people are in comedy because they couldn't have done anything else.
Yeah.
Some people do
Which
it.
is fine.
Because it's like, bro, if not this, then you. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck else.
But there's a lot like that. I mean, I was talking about removals. I worked at a few removal companies. And I'm not talking about the ones you'd see on the adverts. I'm talking about the horror ones that that people don't want to do them jobs, and it's like 5-story buildings, and the lifts don't work, and you can't park there, and it's a bad place, and it's filthy, and you're there for 12 hours. And it was a job. It would catch people at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you need those jobs. They'd pay you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because they knew people wouldn't stick around for the job. People would leave after 15 minutes. I'm not running up and down. I'm not doing this all day. I thought it was just carrying a box, and now we're up and down. People going, hurry up! And you go, I've got another 12 hours of this.
Yeah.
And it would have people out of jail. People couldn't read. You just come here, you get the job, and you pick the stuff up, and you start whenever. Or when I did security, like doorman. Yeah. It was another thing. You go, how would these people have any other job? You go, they've had violence all their life, so this is easy because you can't be a doorman, bouncer as they used to call it, and be dealing with arseholes that think they're tough all the time, and just be like them. You've got to be on top of that. So that means you've got to, in a weird way, you've got to be sort of seeking pleasure out of it, because you have to be a nutter who could mentally deal with people that are arseholes and tough and rude and smart, cocky bastards, and you've got to deal with that. Your job.
That's all day.
So you have to be one of those people that you can't do anything. That's what you were built to do from birth.
Yeah.
And comedy, you go, I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to stick to a job.
Yeah.
I can't put up with people. I'm going to tell people I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
I'd work on my own and be a comedian. I can deal with the poverty and it might not work, but I'm not having a job talking to people.
In an office.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To finish, we will finish on this. What's your ideal future? What would you like to be? Yeah.
One of the greats in British stand-up. That's the target.
Any specifics? Like, would you like to TV, film?
I want to, I've got... some shows that we're trying to put together and pitch and get out the door. I want to write television, but smart. But to be honest, my dream from my late 30s and early 40s and 50s is to be doing just stand-up, touring. That's what people know me for. That's what people come out to see.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I've always been completely in love with since I was very young is straight stand-up comedy.
Right. Okay,
and I want to do it at the highest possible level. And I just know that, there is a lot that's required to do it at that level. And I'm very much willing to sacrifice everything I love and everyone I know to get there.
I mean, it's not a bad gig if it works. You're basically listening to laughter, making people laugh. That's pretty. Yeah. I mean, if God was about,
it's like science to it, though. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like, why specifically was that funny?
Yeah.
And why specifically does this not work?
Yeah.
What buttons in society am I pushing? Is my material meeting the moment?
Yeah.
Am I helping by saying this, or am I damaging people and society? Like, it's just so fun.
It's really, I mean, down from the bigger looking at your career down to the telling of that sentence.
Yeah.
It's just little cogs that you're constantly turning. Yeah. That's your job, turning all these little things and making sure everything keeps moving and growing and adding cogs in.
Yeah. And also, like, it's two very separate forms, because you have to be that person that, like, deeply in my basement, close the curtains, I need to analyze this.
Yeah.
But then there's also, like I said earlier, when you're performing, that version of you is, Patrice O'Neill says you leave a little part of yourself with them every time. You do lose a Horcrux at every gig.
Right.
And like, if you want to be at the highest level, there's a vulnerability and a connection you have to make with every crowd.
Yeah.
That takes a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to do that. And so that's actually the harder part.
Yeah. Well, Ricky Gervais is funny. I mean, I don't follow a lot of his stand-up stuff. I liked his TV stuff, but he was saying how, like, he has to talk about his life, and he said, "I'm no longer working in an office, so I can't do that anymore. I've got money. I've got to do it right." He said, "So I have to run towards that. So I do talk about being on a private plane and the money and how lazy." But he said, "But I have to tell you about my small penis." And so you know that he's got all those things, but he's still worse off somehow.
Do you know what's hilarious and quite upset and really hard in the current show? I'm talking about, I used to write back-end code at a hedge fund. I'm talking about working in finance and all this kind of stuff. Okay. So but the problem with talking about that kind of stuff, I'm talking about a level of wealth that is accessible enough to make the audience angry.
Right.
But not accessible enough to be ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Like what Ricky Gervais talks about. So I'm actually just pissing them off, because I'm like, they're like, well, I could actually remodel the bathroom if I had his money. And they're older than me.
Right.
So it's like another level of like, I fucking hate this child.
This child, they're still looking at you like a kid. Yeah, why should I respect you?
Because I'm half their age.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And I make double their money.
Right. Oh,
so it's infuriating. Yeah. It's infuriating for them. And it's really hard to talk about.
Right.
But I found a way.
Well, listen, thank you for coming up on the show. What are you up to? What do you do with your Sundays?
I do my Sundays. Well, my girlfriend has gone back to Scotland for the week, because my brother-in-law has a wedding.
So she's from
there, so she's going to see family for the week. Then I'm going out.
Where did you meet?
Friday. Hinge. I'm a busy man.
What do you mean? Oh, hang on, that's a dating
app. Yeah,
I think in the area. I think, where's Hinge?
I was preparing a door, and
and it's going well. 3 months.
Yeah, it's perfect.
The camera's on, so okay.
She's very.
So what are you going to do now? She's away.
I'm lucky. I've got a friend come and buy the house, and we're gonna go play some tennis for a couple hours.
Oh, nice.
And then we're gonna have a barbecue in the backyard, have some beers, write together for a few hours.
That's a pretty good day. That is.
It's a great day.
That's a fantastic day.
It's pretty fantastic.
Right. So what's your full name, and get it right so you don't offend anybody?
Tadiwa Mahlunge.
There we go.
And if you're white, it's Tadiwa Mahlunge. Yeah. And please come see me at the Edinburgh Fringe, 4:25 at Monkey Barrel. Every single day of the Fringe, I'll be there. It's going to be fantastic. It's a great show.
That's pretty good. Right, well, thank you very much. Every guest we have on, we're going to try and check back in with them later on in the year to see how everything's going, or if it hasn't worked out.
Mental breakdown. I'm fucking crying. I've broken up with my wife.
Oh no, we'll delete the
I've lost the house.
Yeah, this hasn't worked out how we planned at all. But we're here to talk about accountancy firms. Yeah. How's it going? Yeah. Listen, that's life. You never know. Yeah. But anyway, so we will see you next week. Karem, you all good? All the trains running all right on the way home? We don't want you getting back late. See you later. Cheers.
Bye then, bye.
Love me or hate me, God knows you made it when he laid his eyes on me. Yucky, ninini, the down.